The Florida housing market is facing a severe decline, signaling broader economic issues. Despite perceptions of its resilience, major retailers in the housing sector are experiencing falling prices. High-profile CEOs like Ray Dalio, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos have raised concerns about American spending habits, with companies like Home Depot and Walmart reporting decreased earnings in consumer spending. This downturn is attributed to factors like high interest rates and habits from the 2008 financial crisis, where homes were heavily leveraged. The current market shows increased housing inventory but fewer sales, indicating changing buyer behavior. This is exacerbated by rising living costs, especially in Florida, where home insurance and taxes have surged. The economic strain is leading to a vicious cycle of reduced income and spending, worsening the situation. The analysis reveals significant price drops in 31 Florida cities, and some areas experiencing up to 100% decreases in average sold prices. The situation is critical, and there's an urge of caution and awareness, especially for those in real estate and those reliant on credit. The message is clear. The market is rapidly changing, and it's crucial to stay informed and prepared. The Florida housing market is collapsing, and while I hope everybody had a fantastic Thanksgiving and had lots to be thankful for, the truth is that Cyber Monday and Black Friday were a disaster. Now, I've read your comments, and I know that most of the folks think the same as me and just like I do, and you're right. But the inconvenient truth is that the housing market and major retailers like Walmart, Target, and many others are currently experiencing a very notable, relatable, and similar trend: falling prices. Now, this particular predictable phenomenon is going to be extremely evident next year in 2024. And we've already had major CEOs like Ray Dalio, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Charlie Munger, God rest his soul, who are sounding the alarm bells about the American spending habits, which clearly indicates serious trouble is ahead. In fact, companies like Home Depot and Walmart have already reported declining earnings and consumer spending, pointing to a broader economic issue. But the truth is that Florida and the Florida housing market is starting to decline in value fast, and millions will go broke. And it always starts with homeowners, and that's because all homeowners are consumers too. So right now, consumers are stretched thin economically. And these are people just like you and me who are stretched beyond capacity, and they're increasingly unable to sustain their previous spending levels, which is just a fancy way of saying that keeping up with the Joneses is no longer sustainable in 2024. The decline in spending power is contributing to falling prices across various economic sectors, especially housing and retail. And this dynamic is getting exponentially worse due to high interest rates and the lingering financial habits from the 2008 housing crisis, where people extensively used their home as a piggy bank, borrowing against them to the maximum capacity. Now, this alarming trend continues to skyrocket as more and more people try to use their home as a piggy bank now and today, borrowing against their home's equity due to increasing economic pressure that they feel right now. Like, for instance, the rising homeowners insurance policy premium renewals and the return of student loan repayments. And the real estate market is feeling the strain too, especially in Florida, whereas the housing market is on the uptick, but there are far fewer sales, which is a very clear indicator that buyer behavior is changing fast. Record low mortgage applications suggest a recognition of severe economic challenges, and the cost of living, which has skyrocketed, especially in Florida, where the cost of home insurance has skyrocketed and tax rates have gone through the roof. These additional burdens continue to put pressure on homeowners and investors. And unlike a lump of coal that you would typically get in your Christmas stocking, which turns into a diamond after enough pressure and time, the pressure that consumers are feeling is unlikely to turn into a diamond, but more likely to go up into flames like a lump of coal. And the broader economic implications are significant. So we will all see that just as prices fall, so do revenues for companies, which typically leads to job cuts and reduced wages. More layoffs are coming, and this creates a vicious cycle where reduced income leads to reduced spending, further driving the economy downward. And if that situation isn't bad enough, it's actually much worse because people are increasingly becoming more reliant on high interest credit cards to maintain their lifestyle, to put food on the table, to go on vacation, pay for medical expenses, and so on and so forth. And that is just plain old unsustainable. Yet, retailers are making it easier for the consumer to kick the can down the road, like, for instance, convincing people to say, yeah, sure, I will gladly pay you Friday for a cheeseburger today. And with that, a Big Mac in Connecticut costs $21 right now. So just let that sink in. So get ready, folks, and prepare, because right now, the economic outlook for 2024 is not promising for the financially faint, with failing prices in both the housing market and retail sectors being a symptom of much deeper financial issues facing the American economy, which calls for caution and awareness, especially for those in the real estate market, and maybe even more so for those relying heavily on credit. And we also need to talk about and discuss just how the $1.8 billion realtors lawsuit could reshape Florida's housing market after a jury found that the National Association of Realtors was artificially inflating commissions. And the question that pretty much everyone I know alive right now wants to know the answer to, which is forecasting future housing market predictions for 2024 and when will home prices be affordable again? But the simple fact of the matter is that the 2023 housing market continues to face challenges due to high mortgage rates, elevated home prices, and relatively tight inventory, leading to a continuing housing affordability crisis. And despite recent drops in the 30-year mortgage rate, rates remain historically high, affecting buyer behavior and sales. Although the Federal Reserve's pause in raising the federal funds rate offers a glimmer of hope, its long-term plan remains focused on combating inflation, which is basically another way of saying high interest rates will persist. You just kind of got to read between the lines when they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. But for the housing market to recover, conditions like increased home inventories and reduced interest rates are necessary. However, rapid rate drops could negate inventory gains by spurring demand and driving up prices again. And that would be a fucking disaster. So a gradual return to more normal mortgage rates in the upper 4% to lower 5% range would easily be considered far more beneficial. And right now, mortgage originations are expected to stay low through 2023 due to high rates. And the spread between the 10-year Treasury bond yield and the 30-year fixed rate mortgage remains unusually wide. And only if we can narrow this spread could we begin to see some form of encouragement for more buyers to enter the market. Housing inventory, particularly for entry-level homes, continues to lag, with many homeowners reluctant to sell due to locked-in low rates or high home prices. And despite slight increases in existing home stock, the supply remains historically low. New construction home builders and new home sales, in contrast, have seen an uptick, but this alone cannot resolve the inventory issue. And this leading to even more problems in the construction sector, with builder confidence waning due to high mortgage rates and other challenges. That is just leading to more and more price reductions and incentives, but still facing buyer hesitation. And to be honest, they have to incentivize buyers to buy, or else they're going to lose their ass, holding inventory with no way of converting on their construction loans due to the ongoing liquidity crisis and insolvency nightmare that many businesses and banks are all facing right now. Simply put, housing and real estate and home affordability have reached historical lows, with first-time buyers particularly affected. Whereas, who has $1 million in cash to buy their first home while trying to start a family and hold on to a shaky job and an uncertain employment future? I sure didn't when I was just starting out. I don't know about you. And the few pages of MLS listings on Zillow that remind us all of the high costs and limited supply continue to make home ownership increasingly more difficult for them too. Although some areas are experiencing price declines, there is a silver lining, as a major housing market crash seems unlikely due to the strong financial footing of many homeowners who are either unable to or just don't want to give up what they have to move into something worse. And while we're at it, let's talk about foreclosure activity. And even though it's increasing, we haven't seen a surge in foreclosures in 2023, and odds are this is not anticipated in 2024 either, and for good reason. But I will save that explanation for a future video and another deep dive, because there's something happening and going on right now in the real estate foreclosure market that's just plain old scary and alarming, to say the least. Think institutional buyers with endless amounts of cash, and what's the old saying? You'll own nothing and be happy. Yeah, so there's that. But still, there are plenty of homeowners out there who have significant equity, providing a buffer against foreclosure risks for now. But simply put, the Florida housing market is collapsing and millions will go broke. Did you know that 5 out of the 10 of the most overpriced housing markets in the U.S. are in Florida? Now, I will drop the list for you all to read in the description from this recent study by Florida Atlantic University, which identified the 10 most overpriced housing markets in the United States. And this ranking was based on the comparison between the average expected home values, considering historical trends, and the average list price in the 100 largest metro areas. And the cities were ranked according to the largest percentage differences between the two values. So the list from the least to the most overpriced housing market is as follows: Nashville, Tennessee; Tampa, Florida; Deltona, Florida; Detroit, Michigan; Palm Bay, Florida; Lakeland, Florida; Memphis, Tennessee; Charlotte, North Carolina; Cape Coral, Florida, where the average listing price is $375,812. The expected home value is $251,100, and the difference between home value and list price is 49.67%. And lastly, Atlanta, Georgia. Now, notably, 5 of these top 10 overpriced markets are located in Florida, indicating a particular concentration of overvaluation in the state's housing market. And if you want to know the best tips for buying and or selling in today's market, then listen to this. For buying in today's housing market, consider moving to a lower priced housing market, especially if your job allows remote work or if you have the flexibility to switch jobs. Prepare thoroughly in advance by reviewing your financial situation, gathering necessary documents, exploring options with multiple lenders, and improving your credit score. Regularly check housing prices and listings to stay ahead of the competition, and understand your potential monthly mortgage payment, including taxes, and ensure it fits comfortably within your budget. And for selling in today's housing market, work with a real estate agent to set an appropriate price for your home, which can help stimulate buyer competition and accelerate the sale. Prepare your home for sale sooner rather than later, ensuring it's in good condition to attract buyers. Enhance your home's online presence and appeal, which is often the first point of contact with potential buyers, and include interactive elements like a 3D virtual tour or an interactive floor plan in your listings to increase engagement, page views, and saves. All in all, stay smart, stay ready, and stay prepared, folks. Do me a favor, smack that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you back here real soon for more important updates and extremely valuable and helpful information that I want to share with you all to help keep you in the know, educated, and well ahead of the curve. Come on over to Patreon and check us out. There's a link down below. We appreciate your support and have completely and entirely free memberships available. So there's a tier for everyone. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all again next time.